Hello, in this video I'd like to explain the process of how I paid my mortgage off in under 5 years. Knowing that I have my home paid for, knowing that I don't owe a mortgage company and a bank anything, knowing that I freed up the biggest line item in my monthly budget, the mortgage payment, knowing that I've freed that up and that money can be used for things that mean more to me, like investing, like traveling, like treating people to dinners and hanging out with my family and friends and buying things and experiences that make myself and other people happy. There's no replacing that. I know there's some debate on whether or not you should pay your mortgage off early or invest. To me, I made the decision to pay my mortgage off early, and this video will explain why I did that and how I did that. So when I think about how I paid my mortgage off in under 5 years, just a little over 4 years, or right around 4 years actually, it took me to pay it off. To me, it all starts before I even bought this house, before I even signed all the papers and got the mortgage for this house. And here's what I mean. Way back when, like 2011, 2012, I had another house in a more, the cost of living, the property value was more where I used to live. But I always, even though I haven't been investing in the stock market that long, I've always kind of lived by that famous adage of buy low, sell high. And so my house before this house, I found a really good deal on. It was a fixer-upper. Well, it didn't need too much fixing up, but it was priced, when I bought it back in 2012, it was priced so much lower than what that house should have been. The market, and the real estate market, was offering good deals at that time. So I bought that house in 2012. Thankfully, I have family that is really good about fixing things and building things and home improvement. And so they really stepped up, helped me out, and helped me, which saves a lot of money when you know some skills that you don't have to pay other handyman or contractors to do. I'm very blessed in that respect with my family knowing how to do a lot of those things. So saved a lot of money, and I fixed that house up. And there came a time when I decided to move from that area. My house got broken into by some heroin addicts, and I just thought it was best to move to a different location. So what I did was I sold that home in 2016, and I made a really good profit on it. So once I had that profit, I went, or as I was selling my home, I was looking for other homes. So I knew that I was going to move from that area, and I started looking for other homes. Other homes that were in lower cost of living areas. I knew that by moving from this one area where I had my house to this other area, or the areas I was looking for my next home, I knew that I could get more bang for the buck for what I was paying in my previous area. And I know that I was going to make a profit on my home because I bought it under value. And now, what would that have been, 4 years later, something like that? The value had increased and I was going to profit. And so that was going to put me in a pretty good position if I repeated that same decision, meaning I had to find, or I wanted to find, a home that I could comfortably afford to make the payments, that I could put a nice down payment on, and I wouldn't owe that much. And you got to compromise. Something that always frustrates me when you get online and you do all those mortgage calculators or whatever those calculators are that says, how much home can you afford? Plug in your your info here, and you can afford blah, blah, blah. Well, just because you can afford that doesn't mean you should take out a mortgage and have house payments that are that particular price. If it eats up most of your budget, where you're basically working, you're slaving away, you're stuck at a job that you don't have any choice, really say in the matter, you can't quit because you got this huge mortgage payment because this website says you could afford it. That, to me, that makes no sense at all. So I knew when I was going to search for a new home, I knew I wanted to be in the same position, if not better, than I was in that previous house. So meaning, find another good deal. Find another good deal. Find another home that is undervalued, underpriced, that is in a good neighborhood, that pretty much has all the stuff that you want and all the stuff that you need. Nothing too extravagant. Nothing with rooms that you'll never go in, never going to use. Big old things that like pools and jacuzzis and all this stuff that you would never use, but they're going to charge you a lot for when you go to look at the home. I didn't want any of that. I wanted to go into this home buying experience with stuff that I need, stuff that was convenient to the places I needed to go, like work and the different stores and stuff that I use a lot. Something that was safe, but above all, or just as important, I should say, a mortgage that I could comfortably afford, that could still allow me to save money for retirement, to invest for retirement, to travel like I love doing, to hang out with family and friends. I needed that comfort of knowing that I can make my house payment and I could do everything else I wanted to do because my house payment's not taking up all my income that I bring in is not going towards my mortgage payment. And so I was patient. So from like January 2016 all the way to March of 2016, I spent all my free time basically researching homes, driving around looking at homes. And where I live now is about 35, 40 minutes from where I used to live. And so it wasn't easy. Of course, weekends, anybody that's looked for a home knows this kind of process takes up a lot of time. But finally, the right one came along at a phenomenal price. And so I essentially repeated the process. I found a house, a home that was undervalued, that should have been selling for a lot more than I bought it for. Not everybody wanted this house, of course, because it needed some love. But me and my family were used to doing that. We kind of enjoyed doing that, fixing up homes and doing renovation and things. And sure, that costs some, but not near as much as buying a house twice as much as I bought this one for. And so I bought this home, and I had a mortgage. I put a pretty decent amount of money down for the down payment. And again, a lot of that was not money that I had saved. Some of it was, very little of it was, because the majority was the profit that I made on my other home. So going from a higher cost of living area, getting into a lower cost of living area that got you more house, that got you a lot of things that made it better financially, just use those profits towards this house. So that was the first step. And I know it took me a while to get there, but that was the first step. It's a process. Putting yourself in a great position to profit from the sale of your home, and you just automatically put it towards your next home. That's what a lot of people do when they flip homes, and they scale up if they wanted to. I scaled up a little bit in terms of size, in terms of square footage, attached garage, which I didn't have at my other home, but I didn't scale up too much. But I got more home for less price than I did from my other house. But I still had a mortgage. So put that big down payment, put the profits from my first house or my previous house to this house. So that knocked down the mortgage. And then you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, did I plan on paying my house off in like 4 years? No, that wasn't part of the plan. I took out a 30-year mortgage. And I probably could comfortably made those payments for 30 years. But man, knowing that I could pay off my house in 4 or 5 years was wonderful. And here's how I kind of got a sense that I could do that. It was called an amortization schedule, or amortization table, I think it's called. And I would do that every month. I would plug in scenarios, and what an amortization schedule shows you, or a table shows you, is making these payments and how long it would take you to pay off your home. And maybe if you have a mortgage, hopefully your bank, your mortgage company has one of these tools that you could play around with. That was very motivating. Not only motivating, but very enlightening, because I would see how much money is going to interest over the years. And if I just paid a little bit more, an extra payment, how much that would knock off in terms of both money and time just by paying a little extra. It blew my mind. And so I went from like paying my mortgage payment, what was required of me to pay, and knowing most of it was going towards interest, seeing 30 years from now, finally I would pay it off if I just paid what I was supposed to, my mortgage payments. But playing around with that tool, playing around with that amortization schedule table, it was started knocking years off. And then I got to the point where I plugged it in, something that was still comfortable paying, something that was still able to comfortably afford paying. And I realized that, man, you could pay this off 5 years, 10 years for sure, very easy. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have that room in my budget, if on the onset I had got a mortgage, got a house way too big, way too out of my budget, even though I could afford it. I didn't want all my income going towards a mortgage payment. Because the fact that I did that, made that good decision, I had money freed up to add to my mortgage. And so that's what I did. I would always pay extra. What my mortgage payment was, I was always paying every month 2 times, 3 times, sometimes 4 times my mortgage payment. And every month I would look at that amortization schedule and that tool I was using, and you get like a PDF printout if you wanted to, and I'd hang it up on the refrigerator, and it would just, you could visually see how many years, how many months was knocking off your mortgage just because you made extra payments, or you made more on your payments. And one thing I don't want to neglect is I contacted my mortgage company to make sure there wasn't any penalties for paying my mortgage off early. And so I had that goal in mind. I knew what exactly these extra payments or paying more on my mortgage, how that could affect my mortgage. And we all know time flies, doesn't it? 4 or 5 years is going to be here. Whether we like it or not, it's going to be here. So, and as long as I was comfortable, as long as I wasn't missing out on all my traveling and doing all the fun stuff that I love doing, like golf and hiking and camping and fishing and hanging out with friends, and I wasn't missing anything. I was still living life. I probably didn't put as much towards retirement as I probably could have, and that's the argument. Do you invest more instead of paying off your mortgage? Or do you pay off your mortgage and put off investing for your retirement? So yeah, I can see both sides of that argument. All right, so I knew the power of making extra payments, knew the power of paying more than what was required of me of my mortgage. But then it became a game. I knew I could pay it off 4 or 5 years. My goal was, because my favorite number is 5, that's kind of silly, isn't it? But that was my goal, pay it off in 5 years. And it became a game. So every raise I got went to the mortgage. Every little money I'd come across went to the mortgage. Every little side hustle, I played music. Every little gig I did on the side, every little money I made from YouTube, every little money I did for these little odd and end little things to make money, which I love doing, trying to figure out how to make money, went towards the mortgage. So it became a game. And the more, it's like a momentum thing. And the more I did, the more I paid extra, the more I saw that finish line getting closer and the light at the end of the tunnel. And luckily I was fortunate. Well, I mean, it wasn't too much luck. It was hard work. It was discipline, hard work, living within your means and finding creative ways to add more payments to your mortgage. And I did. I didn't sacrifice anything to pay off my home in 4 to 5 years. I didn't eat beans and rice. I didn't not travel and do the things I wanted to do. I wasn't a hermit, didn't see my friends and say I couldn't hang out or go out to eat or something during that time frame. I didn't sacrifice anything. And so hopefully this story is motivating if you have the goal of paying off your home. And it's all relative, right? I mean, your house might be a lot bigger than my house. My house isn't that big. It's big enough. Matter of fact, it's probably all the space one will need, I would think. But you might be in a different situation. You might be in a mortgage that it's tough, that it eats up most of your income that you bring in every month. But hopefully this video can be inspiring if you want to pay it off, your home off early. It can be hopefully some tips, which if I reiterate is just before the biggest thing you could do to paying off your mortgage early is before you even get the mortgage. Find a good deal on a house that has everything you need, that might not be the fanciest place in the nicest neighborhood, but it's got all you need to live comfortably, to give you the option of having the freedom and being sort of stress-free from having to work just to pay your mortgage off. I never wanted that, and thank goodness I've never had that as far as a house goes. I always try to find homes that fit my budget, that I could comfortably afford while having money to do other things that meant a lot to me and those that I care about. So that's the first thing. And then pay extra on that home. And it's not an it's not for me to say, like, don't go out and work a second job that you hate. If that's what you got to do, that's what you want to do, that's fine. But know that there's creative ways to make money out there that don't really seem like work. Like me playing these guitars and singing is not work. It's fun. And knowing that I could make a few $100 every time I did it, and I know that could really knock off months of my mortgage, all the better. So whatever that is for you, whatever fun things or skills that you can use that you are good at, that you enjoy doing where it don't seem like work, that's what you got to find. And if you can do that, make extra payments, find creative ways to save money, to make money, to put towards your mortgage, then you too could start knocking off years and months off of your mortgage and being home free. And so I'll make another video in the future about why I decided to pay my mortgage off, but I'll give you a little sneak preview. It's just the freedom, knowing that I can quit my job if I wanted to, and I don't have to stress out about finding ways to pay my mortgage payment. How many of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and if we lost our job, we probably can't make rent for the next month or make our house payment for the next month if we don't continuously have money rolling in from our job. Once you don't have a house payment, you got peace of mind, in my opinion. The psychological the way you feel psychologically, knowing that you've paid your house off, that the only thing that you have to figure out, only thing you have to worry about is finding some way, some kind of way, or have that money socked away, find some kind of way to pay your insurance, your home insurance. And some people don't take the gamble of don't even have home insurance, which is wild. To me, that is a gamble. But find a way to pay for your home insurance, your property taxes, and your utilities. And if you can find out ways to pay for that, it's amazing. Then that's one of the fundamental basic needs that us humans need, shelter. And knowing that you own your shelter, even though you still have to pay insurance, even though you still have to pay property taxes, it's such a great feeling psychologically to know that. And yeah, I didn't run the numbers back then. Maybe if I invested, especially this past decade, we had that nice bull market. I'm sure the investments would have done pretty good, and then probably in the long run, I might have came out better than paying off my home early. But just to know that you don't have a house payment, just know that you have a home that's paid for, that you don't have to work that hard for to keep a roof over your head. To me, that was reward enough. Did it make sense financially versus investing over the long term? I'm not sure, but all I'm going to base it on is me feeling good, knowing I can wake up every day, not have a house payment, and know that this house is mine. And not only is it mine, I paid it off in just a little over 4 years, which to me is one of the greatest achievements that I've ever done in my life. And look, I make an okay living, but I don't bring in crazy amounts of money. But I make enough, and it provides a comfortable living as long as you live within your means and get homes like this one that's not super fancy, but it's got everything that you could possibly need to at least make me happy. So hopefully this video, I know I talked and talked, but it's something that I'm proud of, something that I hope can help you out if you're thinking about paying off your home. Just try to get a good deal as you begin that process. Check out those amortization tables, schedules. If your mortgage company and bank has it, play around with the numbers. See how far you'll go just by making a little extra, paying more than you should on your mortgage payment. See how many months and years that can knock off. Then you start getting motivated. Then your next step is, all right, how do I find that extra cash? Is it through savings, cutting back here or there, or is it finding ways to make more money, and that money will be applied towards your mortgage till you pay it off? To me, it became a game, a fun game that I learned skills or brushed up all my skills that I already had, that I kept practicing those skills, and just finding new ways to make money, and I'm better off in the long run. I got that peace of mind, own my own home, paid it off in under 5 years. It's a beautiful thing. Know that it can happen if you want it to happen. And if it happens, hopefully you'll have the feeling like me that you have a sense of freedom, you have a sense of security. And then if you could pay your house off under 5 years, what can't you do, quite frankly, in this life? You're going to get this confidence, and it's on to the next thing, whatever that is for you. Whether it's investing, saving up money to be a millionaire, or get a new job. Your confidence, knowing that, hey, you completed a monumental task of paying off a house in under 5 years. What can't you do next? That's a great thing. All right, enough of me rambling. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you like videos like this, if you want to get good at investing, if you want to learn how to make money and save money and invest money so you can live life on your own terms and can work because you want to, not because you have to, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you get all the latest videos from this channel. Take care.